Hello, my name is Emily Nabors.
And I'm Anna Nguyen.
We're from the Fall Prevention Center of Excellence, funded by the Archstone Foundation and headquartered at the University of Southern California Andrus Gerontology Center. We're pleased to introduce the following performance of the Falling Monologues, written and directed by Marilyn Faber. The Falling Monologues is a series of stories reflecting the thoughts, emotions, and lessons learned by some older adults after they've fallen.
As a creative approach to spark interest and start discussion about this serious topic, the Falling Monologues were made possible by the Fall Prevention Coalition Los Angeles, funded by the Kaiser Foundation.
Although falls can happen at any age, for adults age 65 and older, falls are the leading cause of injury, hospitalization, and death. More than 1 in 3 older adults fall annually, which is over 350,000 older adults in Los Angeles County. Factors that can lead to falls can be internal to the person, such as medications, poor vision, or balance problems, or external to the person, such as hazards in the home or poor lighting in public places. The more risk factors a person has, the greater the risk of falls. But there are things you can do to reduce your risk.
The main components to reducing fall risk can be represented by 4 E's. They are evaluation, exercise, environment, and education. Evaluation. Get a fall risk evaluation by your doctor or healthcare professional to review medications, check vision, and address chronic conditions that might increase your risk of falling. Exercise. Get active. Engage in regular physical activity to improve your balance, strength, and endurance. Environment. Look at the physical environment, both inside and outside your home, to identify fall hazards and make changes to increase your safety. And education. Understanding your fall risks can help you take action to reduce them. Listen for these different kinds of fall prevention strategies in the Falling Monologues.
To learn more about fall prevention, please visit the Fall Prevention Center of Excellence's website at www.stopfalls.org. And now, without further ado, we present to you the Falling Monologues.
What can I say? Sure, it was my fault. My friend was picking me up any minute. We were going to a party. But wouldn't you know it? The bulb in my hallway fixture had just burned out. Oh, it's dark in my front hallway without a light. Well, I was in a hurry. But I've changed bulbs before, so I grabbed my ladder and started climbing up. However, I forgot that I was wearing my new high-heel shoes I don't usually wear. Well, there I was, almost at the top rung, when my heel caught on a step and, oh, you guessed it, I went tumbling all the way down. Lying there on the floor, I remembered that you should always have a cell phone on you at all times, but especially when you're on a ladder. Well, too late now. It was getting darker. Oh, darn! I forgot to turn on some lights in my living room. Ooh, and I was really hurting all over. My situation dawned on me. Okay, stay calm. I recalled what you're supposed to do in case you fall. Take a deep breath. Try to roll over on your side. Relax. Then get up on your hands and knees and crawl to the nearest chair. Oh, right. My knees were turning to jello, and my hands were swelling. And As I tried to straighten my legs, one leg became entangled with an extension cord from a table lamp. I panicked. What if there was a short in the outlet? What if that started a fire? What if I had major injuries? When the doorbell finally rang, I was able to crawl over to the door, reach up, grab the doorknob, and open the door. Well, my friend Doris looked down at me and asked me why I had a lamp wrapped around my leg. Well, to tell you the truth, I was very lucky. Just a sprained ankle, 2 broken fingers, a fractured wrist, and a multicolored face. It could have been much worse. You know, I found out that 20 to 30% of people who fall experience some pretty serious injuries, well, like hip fractures and head traumas. That can increase the risk of an early death. Well, since I won't be driving for a while, I did a lot of very preventive maintenance around my house. Coiled up and secured extension cords to the wall, installed light switches at the top and the bottom of my staircase, and, oh yes, put extra long life bulbs in my fixtures. In the future, when I need to change a light bulb, instead of grabbing a ladder, I think I'll ask for help.
You've just watched The Ladder, performed by Marilyn Faber. This is the first of 5 Falling Monologues, written and directed by Marilyn. The Falling Monologues is a series of stories reflecting the thoughts, emotions, and lessons learned by some older adults after they've fallen. Let's take a moment to talk about some of the important points mentioned in the monologue.
While many falls only result in a bruised ego, 20 to 30% of people who fall experience serious injuries, such as hip fractures and head traumas. By being aware of fall risks, you can take action to reduce them.
Whether rushing to answer the phone or heading to the bathroom in the middle of the night, slowing down, thinking about your actions, and being aware of your surroundings can help you avoid a trip or slip. Installing night lights is an easy and inexpensive way to make sure you have light when and where you need it.
If you have a cell phone, try to keep it on you at all times, but especially when you're alone at home or walking in the community. If you have fallen multiple times in the past, you may want to consider an emergency alert response system. You'll be able to call someone for help if you need to.
In case you fall, remember to prepare, check, rise, and sit. Prepare. Take a deep breath, relax, and look around you. Check. Check to see if you are injured. Rise. If you feel like you can, roll over on your side, then get up on your hands and knees and crawl to the nearest chair or sturdy piece of furniture that you can use to pull yourself up. Sit. Sit for a few minutes before doing anything else.
One of the fall prevention strategies mentioned was extra long life bulbs. Another option is compact fluorescent light bulbs, or CFLs, that are energy efficient. Both have long lives, meaning that they don't have to be changed as often. Make sure that the bulb you choose is appropriate for the fixture and that burned out bulbs are disposed of properly.
When talking about ladies and their shoes, it's often a battle of form versus function. Keep in mind that the higher the heel, the more unsteady your steps may be, which can increase your risk of falling. When shopping for dress shoes, look for lower, thicker heels, as well as ankle straps that can provide you with more support and stability.
The Falling Monologues were made possible by the Fall Prevention Coalition Los Angeles, or FPC-LA, which is funded by the Kaiser Foundation. To learn more about fall prevention, please visit the Fall Prevention Center of Excellence's website at www.stopfalls.org. Thank you.
I volunteer as an usher at a theater in Hollywood. It's a great way to see plays when you're on a limited budget. I sure enjoy doing it, but I won't be able to for quite a while. I can't believe such a small fall could have caused such a big problem. This is what happened. It had been raining all day. Now everyone was happy about the rain because it came after a long, hot, dry spell. Well, that morning I was running late, so I made a fast dash across the street to catch a bus into Hollywood. The soles of my shoes were slightly worn. Well, I was going to the shoemaker the next day. I thought the road felt slippery under my feet because of the shoes. Wait a minute. I heard that roads are most slippery after a long dry spell. With the first rain, the oil in the asphalt rises up. Whoops, too late. Next thing I know, I wake up in a hospital with a broken hip and a concussion. Me, of all people. I'm very active, big on vitamins, stick to a healthy diet. I have just a little osteoporosis. The doctors were asking me all these silly questions. How has my blood pressure been? What about medications? What about other falls? No, pressure has always been normal. No meds. This is my first serious fall. And hopefully, my last fall ever. And later on, I remembered the allergy pill I take once in a while. I took it that morning. The bottle did say may cause drowsiness. The same for the cough medicine, but all I took was 2 teaspoons. Yes, I was a little woozy as I ran across the street. So, I went from a nursing home to an assisted living place. I couldn't go home. I live alone, and I was still in a wheelchair. I did graduate to a walker, but a lot of people don't know this. So I'll tell you, many people who fall, even if they're not injured, develop a fear of falling. It can cause them to limit their activities, which can lead to a loss of independence, depression, isolation, and actually increase the risk of falling. That, my friends, is my problem. The hip is healed for the most part. However, I feel I can't walk without my walker. And my doctor and physical therapist, they both say I can just use a cane. But I'm afraid. So, I joined a balance class to build up my confidence. Heck, I made up my mind. I'll tell you, I'm pretty tough. So tomorrow, I'll see my physical therapist, and I'll try to use just the cane. First around the house, then when I feel a little more confident, outdoors as well. A few hours at a time, a few days at a time. Then, by golly, before you know it, I'll be back volunteering again. I hope that nice-looking older gentleman is still in our volunteer group.
You've just watched The Bus, performed by Shirley Dougherty. This is the second of 5 Falling Monologues, written and directed by Marilyn Faber. Let's take a moment to talk about some of the important points mentioned in the monologue.
Here in sunny Southern California, rain often comes as a surprise. Other parts of the country have blizzards and ice storms. But come rain, come shine, come snow, come sleet, the show must go on. However, when out and about, during or after bad weather, be especially careful. Take your time, walk in covered areas when possible, and use handrails when available.
Shoes also play an important role in fall prevention and can provide traction or grip when walking across a slippery surface. Pay attention to the bottom of your shoes and replace them when the treads begin to wear out. Just like the tires on a car, the soles of your shoes can only walk so many miles before they need to be replaced.
Another thing to pay attention to are the medications you take. All medications, prescriptions, herbal remedies, or over-the-counter drugs such as allergy or cough medicine can have side effects that can increase the risk of falls. Read the labels carefully to check for side effects such as drowsiness, dizziness, lightheadedness, changes in blood pressure, or having to go to the bathroom more often.
Fear of falling refers to a continuing concern about falling that leads people to limit social and physical activities, which can in turn increase the risk of falling and decrease quality of life. People can develop a fear of falling even if they haven't had a serious fall. If you've changed your activities because of a concern with falling, talk with your doctor or health professional about ways to boost your confidence and sense of control over falling.
If you experience changes in your balance, an assistive device, such as a cane or walker, might help. Talk with your doctor or a physical or occupational therapist to learn what would support you best and how to use it correctly. As your abilities change, stay in touch with your health professional to make sure that your assistive device is providing you with the proper support. Although some people may feel that a cane or walker sends a message of weakness or frailty, it can actually help keep you out and about, continuing to do the things that are meaningful to you and staying connected with the people you love.
Well, as you can see, I'm in pretty good shape for a man my age. At least I was, until it happened. I walked every morning, at least a mile, sometimes 2. Worked out at the gym, even did yoga. Then it happened. I was taking my usual walk in the neighborhood. Now I want to tell you, all of us neighbors have been very concerned about the uprooting of the sidewalks due to these big old trees. Well, anyway, I was out on a lovely summer day walking along with my dog when suddenly the sidewalk and I met face to face. There I am, flat on my kisser, and I can't move. I went into an if-only mode. If only I'd picked up my prescription sunglasses. If only I had left the dog at home. You see, my boxer doesn't much care for other dogs, and when he saw that pug heading straight toward us, he really jerked the leash. Yeah, I know. You're supposed to keep 2 hands on the leash at all times, one on the loop or the handle, the other lower down. Yeah, I know all that. But what good is knowing if you don't do it? Meanwhile, I'm bleeding like crazy. I don't know who was whining the loudest, me or the dog. Someone called 911, and I wound up in the hospital. I felt like I was wrapped head to toe, like a mummy. Deep cut on my scalp, fractures on my face, both my arms, and my kneecap. Years ago, when I tripped on a sprinkler head in my yard, I vowed I would be more cautious. Then it was just a sprained ankle. Now it's a whole different ballgame. After the hospital, a convalescent facility, and I needed 24/7 caregiver at home. Oh, I had plenty of physical therapy too, still do. But the sad thing is, I just can't do the things I used to do and enjoy. It's depressing. However, my doctor recommended water exercises and fitness programs to improve my balance and strengthen my lower body. So I'm here to tell you, I'm not going to sit around. Just as soon as I can, I'm starting those programs. You know, 35 to 40% of older Americans fall annually. Believe you me, I don't want to be one of those statistics ever again. As for my dog, well, he suffered from guilt for a long time. Moody, refused treats, paced the floor at night. But the dog trainer therapist I hired helped him to understand that accident was not his fault.
You've just watched The Sidewalk, performed by Richard Atwill. Let's take a moment to talk about some of the important points mentioned in the monologue.
Being physically active on a regular basis is an important part of fall prevention. Physical activity is anything that gets you moving. This can include exercise, such as swimming, daily activities, such as walking, or hobbies, such as gardening. These activities can be done at home or in the community. Some senior centers offer exercise classes, and some shopping malls have walking groups.
Exercises that are especially effective at reducing fall risk work on improving balance, strength, flexibility, and endurance. Examples include strength training exercises such as lunges or squats, and Tai Chi, which can improve balance and endurance.
A Tai Chi class can be helpful for someone with good balance, but not as safe for someone with balance problems. Anytime you're considering a new kind of physical activity, talk with your doctor or a physical therapist to get a fall risk assessment and see what types of exercises would best match your abilities and risk level. Make an activity plan that fits your interests. You'll be more likely to continue activities you enjoy.
When walking in the community, watch out for uneven sidewalks. Consider going to well-maintained places like malls and high school tracks, and walk where there is plenty of light to help you see where you are going. Also, be sure you are wearing the correct eyewear while walking. Bifocals or reading glasses make it harder to see hazards on the ground. Wear sunglasses on bright days to help reduce glare.
Pets can provide unconditional love, but man's best friend can also create fall hazards. When indoors, keep water bowls, food dishes, and pet toys out of walkways. When outdoors, walk with your pet in familiar, well-lit areas with level ground. Increase your stability by using 2 hands on the leash when walking your dog. Place one hand on the handle or leash loop, and the other hand lower down on the leash. In addition, consider obedience training to control behaviors that may increase falls, such as pushing or pulling.
This is what happens when you try to be too nice to relatives. I'm talking about that stupid scatter rug my sister-in-law gave me for my bathroom when I moved into my new apartment. I never liked the color. I didn't want to hurt her feelings, so I kept it. Well, that day, as I stepped out of the tub and onto the rug, I slipped and went face down into all that purple fuzz. I remember that as I was falling, I tried to reach for the grab bars, but they weren't there. The handyman for the building was supposed to install them before I moved in. I never noticed they were missing. In all fairness, my sister-in-law did tell me to be sure to put a gripper pad under the rugs. All loose rugs should have gripper pads. So why didn't she buy one for me? As I lay there on the rug, fuzz in my mouth, instead of my life flashing before my eyes, my falls over the years flashed before my eyes. Like the time I tripped over my little chihuahua. She now wears a bell around her neck. Oh, and that party where I missed a step, clutched at the bookshelf, and all the books went flying all over the room. How embarrassing was that? Then there was a time I forgot to pick the magazines up off the floor. And oh well, who can remember that? Well, after a while, even though I was dizzy, I was able to call a friend who took me to the emergency room. It's a good thing I have a good sense of humor. The doctor asked me, "What is that purple fuzz on your face?" I said, "You're the doctor, you tell me." Well, I broke my hip, and I was in a rehab facility for a long time. As you know, Medicare does not cover everything. In addition, I had to keep paying the rent for my apartment since I was planning on going back. I've recovered enough so I can take aerobic and Tai Chi classes at my senior center to work on my flexibility and balance. I'm being more careful these days with my surroundings and day-to-day chores. Probably the most important thing I've learned is that while older people fall more often, and when they do, they suffer more serious injuries, falls are preventable and not the inevitable part of aging.
You've just watched Scatter Rug, performed by Marcia Kassan. Let's take a moment to talk about some of the important points mentioned in the monologue.
According to a report released by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in 2011, over 80% of injuries that happen in the bathroom are a result of falls. High rates of injuries occurred in or around the tub or shower, as well as on or near the toilet. The most common injuries were bruises, cuts, strains, sprains, and fractures. The rates of fractures increase with age.
Consider installing a landline in the bathroom or bringing a cell phone in and leaving it on the counter. If you have fallen multiple times in the past, you may also consider an emergency alert response system. You'll be able to call someone for help if you need to.
The bathroom can be a particularly hazardous area of the home, but there are many changes you can make to reduce your risk of falling. Using anti-slip strips or decals in your shower or tub can add traction and make the floor less slippery when wet. If you're remodeling, consider installing textured flooring or non-slip tile.
Grab bars are a key part of safety in the bathroom. Your doctor can refer you to an occupational therapist who can make sure supports are appropriate for the person who will be using them. It is very important that grab bars are installed properly and securely.
If you are considering hiring a handyman to make home safety improvements, get recommendations from friends. Also, check with your local area agency on aging or housing department for low-cost home safety programs. If you live in an apartment complex, you have the right to request reasonable modifications under the Fair Housing Act.
Most of us have scatter rugs or mats in our homes to keep our feet warm on cold tile, cover a stain, or for decoration. But these rugs can cause trips and slips. It is best to simply remove scatter rugs altogether. If it's a decorative rug, consider making it into a wall hanging. If it's a functional rug, make sure that it is properly secured. Rug grippers for both hard surfaces and carpet can be found at your local home goods or home improvement store.
I haven't seen you in a long time. How are you doing?
Don't ask. You know those theaters with the stadium seating?
Yeah.
The lighting on those steps is so bad. I missed a step and I fell head down. My whole head and neck were in one of those large contraptions cast for 1 year. Now I still have to wear a neck brace. So how's your family?
Don't ask. My brother tripped on one of those cement block barriers in a parking lot, broke his toe and his arm. Well, he was devastated. He planned on running in the marathon. By the way, how is your sister?
Don't ask. She adopted a puppy.
Oh.
It takes a long time to housebreak them. Anyway, she didn't see a puddle on the floor, fell, and sprained her back. She still can't go back to work. It's rough in this economy. And being a single mother. What can I tell you? How's your friend Celia doing?
Oh, don't ask. In a nursing home. She became disoriented from all the medications that she takes and fell. Well, thank goodness her neighbor found her on the front lawn. Well, I hear she's getting better, though.
Unfortunately, that happens. I've read that the risk of falling increases with 4 or more medications, especially if you have a chronic disease like arthritis or diabetes.
Hey, have you heard from Linda?
Don't ask. You won't believe this. Picture it. She is in bed. She reaches over to turn off the lamp on the table, overreaches, and falls off the bed. She had taken a sleeping pill before going to bed. She wanted to get a good night's sleep because she had an early audition the next morning for a movie. So she just lays there and on the floor and she falls asleep. The next morning, her cleaning lady comes in, finds her, and starts screaming. Linda looks up and says, "Why are you screaming? You woke me up." She was okay. A little sore, but okay.
Well, I bet she felt terrible about missing the audition.
Well, to tell you the truth, they really were looking for someone a little younger. Someone like Betty White.
You've just watched Don't Ask, performed by Marilyn Faber and Lois Liebhaber. This is the last of 5 Falling Monologues, written and directed by Marilyn. The Falling Monologues is a series of stories reflecting the thoughts, emotions, and lessons learned by some older adults after they've fallen. Let's take a moment to talk about some of the important points mentioned in the dialogue.
According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, most fractures older people experience are caused by falls. In 2009, over 2 million non-fatal fall injuries among older adults were treated in emergency departments. Having a chronic disease such as arthritis, diabetes, or osteoporosis increases the risk of falling. While falls happen among people of all ages, the chances of falling and being seriously injured in a fall increase with age.
Whether walking on steps or in parking lots, it is important to be aware of your surroundings and take your time. This is especially important if there is not much light to help you see where you're going.
Pets can provide unconditional love, but man's best friend can also create fall hazards. Keep water bowls, food dishes, and pet toys out of walkways, and be sure to clean up spills thoroughly and immediately. For cats and smaller pets, place a bell on your pet's collar to let you know when it's nearby.
Medications can have side effects that increase the risk of falls, such as drowsiness, dizziness, lightheadedness, changes in blood pressure, or having to go to the bathroom more often. Taking multiple medications, especially 4 or more, can cause interactions and lead to increased fall risk. Even things that aren't prescribed to you, such as vitamins, herbal remedies, and over-the-counter drugs, can change the way another drug is working. Bring all your medications to your pharmacist or doctor to review. Ask about ways your medications can affect each other and talk about any side effects you experience.
To avoid a fall by the bed, make sure your bedside table is close enough so that you are able to easily reach frequently used items such as books, the phone, or TV remote. If needed, have someone help you move the table closer to the bed. Also, take your time when getting out of bed. Moving too quickly can cause blood pressure to drop, so before getting up, sit for a moment and then stand up slowly.
By being aware of fall risks, you can take action to reduce them. The Falling Monologues were made possible by the Fall Prevention Coalition Los Angeles, or FPC-LA, which is funded by the Kaiser Foundation. To learn more about fall prevention, please visit the Fall Prevention Center of Excellence's website at www.stopfalls.org. Thank you.